It's the second ever live WaitingForNextYear.com podcast. And we made the mistake of competing with the Cavaliers game and a holiday weekend.
Yeah, I made a Venn diagram of people interested in our podcast and Cavs fans, and it's just a circle. The only people interested in our podcast are people who are going to be watching the game tonight. So
thank you for the 7. I'm overestimating. Thank you for all the people who came. We'll just generically say all the people who came.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming out.
Yes.
But our listeners will listen to this anyway.
Yeah, they will. They will. So we could record this thing anywhere, and at least a few hundred people will listen. So we've got that going for us.
Our confidence or pride, neither of them are bruised or hurt at all right now. We're both at 100%.
Well, I'm feeling all right because you organized it. So I'm just gonna blame you.
Fair enough.
And we're also not going to spend the night talking about actual things happening right now that are going to expire. This is an evergreen podcast tonight. Yeah, because if we started talking about Kyrie Irving and whether or not he's going to play, you guys will all be bored out there because by the time you're hearing this, you'd know that he played and he scored 47 points.
47 on bum knee.
It's amazing. So the continuation of the Cavs playoffs is Dave has been going over reasons to hate the teams that the Cavs are playing. So
yeah, we really didn't need a reason with the Bulls.
No, it's too easy.
They that article didn't really make sense to write. But Atlanta is a tougher nut to crack.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate Atlanta, generally speaking.
Generally speaking, and we needed to really dig into a few things to really digest why we should hate them.
So thankfully for you, we researched the hate and we came up with good reasons for hatred. So do you want to kick it off?
Sure.
All right.
The number one thing that I'd like to do is the Hawks, which is the mascot of Atlanta, was also the mascot of the evil hockey team in the original Mighty Ducks movie.
Well, now I think you're trying too hard. Is there a secondary?
Well, the fact that Kyle Korver looks like one of the members of the Hawks will go right into that, and that's the kind of thing I can't get behind.
All right, well, it's an okay start. How about the nickname Hotlanta?
I agree with that one 100%.
Hotlanta.
Because everybody says it, too. It's like, oh, I'm headed to Atlanta. You mean Hotlanta?
It crossed a boundary where it ceased to be ironic or funny or even sarcastically funny.
Yeah, it's the Vegas baby of Atlanta.
You know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, Dave?
You know that Hotlanta is hot.
Yeah.
All right. Atlanta.
Number 2.
This is going to get a little personal, and I'm glad that he has recovered and doesn't have a career-ending leg injury. But DeMarre Carroll...
Yeah, it really kind of sucked. We wanted to make fun of him, but when his leg fell off in Game 1, we thought maybe he was off limits.
His serious injury was a real big problem for me, personally.
In the way of comedy.
Yeah, the way his hair is, it makes him look like Worf from Star Trek The Next Generation.
I think you should attribute that.
Yeah, I stole that joke from a guy from Reddit named Chris Paul George, but it was applicable, and I couldn't think of anything better.
So, number 2 on my list, Ludacris is a rapper from Atlanta.
Wait, how could you have a problem with Ludacris?
Because he acts under his real name, Chris Bridges. He lost all his credibility by acting under his real name.
Just pick Ludacris. We know who you are.
Or the shortened version, Luda. Just go as Luda.
That's the Hotlanta of Ludacris. Well, my next one is very similar, in a similar vein musically.
It's almost like a backhanded compliment.
Mine is that Atlanta-based hip-hop mega group Outkast hasn't released an album in 7 years.
So what you're saying is you like something from Atlanta so much that you're disappointed they haven't...
I'm saying that if Atlanta were a real appropriate artistic muse, there would have been many, many albums since then.
Forget the Black Crowes, right? If they're not good enough for you.
I try to forget the Black Crowes as often as I can.
They broke up. So
that's another problem with Atlanta.
Another reason to hate Atlanta.
They can't sustain music.
I'm just going to go easy. This was like the low-hanging fruit for Cleveland fans. The 1995 World Series. I hate Greg Maddox's face.
Yep. I have nothing more to add. That is 100% true.
Ruined my life. Atlanta, Hotlanta. All right, next.
Their coach, his name is Budenholzer, and I don't know what that means.
It's a mock-worthy name. I know that much.
And it reminds me of the movie Rookie of the Year when the manager couldn't get Henry Rowengartner's name right. So he called them Rosenbagger, Gardenhoser, Runamucker. That's. I'm going to continue doing that for Budenholzer as the series goes on.
And plus, this guy Budenholzer, he looks like the generic definition of NBA coach. He could be 7 other NBA coaches that we don't know their name.
He looks like Linus from Peanuts, grown up but kind of already gone through his midlife crisis. He looks real sad. He has sad eyes
and red hair dye.
I did not see a security blanket on the sideline. I don't know where he keeps it.
Whatever you do, man, don't go gray. It's so sad to me. I'm 36. I've got gray hair, and I just embrace it, But some dude who walks around at 55 with stark black hair, dude, we get it.
We see Just for Men. You try to tie the touch of gray next time.
You're not fooling anyone. Nobody stays with their true hair color into their 70s. Give it up.
My next one is...
It's not your turn.
Isn't it?
No, you just gave me Budenholzer.
Oh, sorry. You just got Budenholzered.
Elton Brand still plays in the NBA.
As we discussed before, I remember kind of vaguely wanting the twilight years of Elton Brand in 2010, the last time LeBron was here.
And I think he used to make like 20-some million a year. And you've held on too long in the NBA when you've made, let's just round up and say he's made over $100 million in his NBA career, still hanging around for that $2 million in Atlanta.
You don't want to have a big stable of players that when they enter the game you go, huh.
Yeah, pay no mind to the fact that the Cavaliers have the Matrix on their bench.
Hey, at least he doesn't play anymore.
Don't bring up the fact that the Cavaliers were trying to get Ray Allen out of retirement. I don't want to hear it.
And don't bring up the fact that Michael Stanley hasn't released an album in over 7 years either.
It's Elton Brand. Elton Brand is the problem. He's the hate-worthy. We didn't say there weren't hate-worthy reasons to hate the Cavs, but...
that is for an Atlanta podcast called...
Is there an Atlanta podcast? There's another reason to hate them. I don't know of any.
I don't know of any Atlanta-based podcasts unless CNN has a podcast.
You know what?
Or Coca-Cola. Does Coca-Cola have a podcast?
No, it's a Black Crowes podcast. A now defunct band podcast.
Okay, what is the name for the Black Crowes podcast?
Shake Your Moneymaker podcast. I don't know.
I don't know enough about the Black Crowes. I thought my brain would call up a Black Crowes song. And it didn't.
At least I thought of the name of an album.
Okay, no Black Crowes jokes, I guess.
Chris Robinson smokes a lot of pot. Anyway.
So it's a podcast.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. There's the pun I was looking for.
The Black Crowes podcast.
All right. Is it Piro?
I don't know.
Piro, I don't know either. I wasn't listening to...
Antich.
Antich he's from Macedonia. But not the Macedonia with the chilies and the new Popeyes. It's the country Macedonia. So he did not, in fact, as previously reported, go to Nordonia High School.
Well, I don't even know where the country Macedonia is. So
I was educated at a public American school as well, so neither do I.
A public American school.
I don't think... Macedonia is one of those places that I don't know, and maybe I'm just going to sound ignorant on the podcast, but I don't know if it was a country when I went to high school.
I'm just going to assume that they're broke like Greece.
It's just a second-rate Greece over there.
That's my ignorance talking, by the way, so don't take it personally.
You're going to get a lot of Macedonian feedback for this one.
All right. Last on my list, unless I think of more, the Hawks throwback logo. Sometimes it's good to go back to the throwback logo.
Yeah.
Not in this case.
Is it the one that's like around? It's a circle with kind of the hawk shape
it looks
vaguely in it.
It looks like a really crappy hood ornament.
Yeah, it's if you bought a car called the Hawk.
Hey, Hyundai released a new brand.
The Hawk.
It's
the Hawk sedan.
Yeah.
It's the Hawk Millsap, which is my last on my list, and it got petty near the end, everybody. I'm going to warn you, it did get petty. But Millsap, it's a dumb name. Come on.
Probably should have put that before Budenholzer. It should have been before that on the list.
Yeah, we were running out of steam because it is a tough team to hate. But we found our reasons.
Well, and that's really the bottom line. You can't hate the Atlanta Hawks all that easily. They're fine.
Yeah,
they don't have a Joakim Noah.
No, they don't. And even, Millsap tried, but all he ended up with one technical foul, and then he kind of kept his nose clean the rest of the game.
And DeMarre Carroll, their legs are falling off. They're just like the Cavs in that respect.
They are. This brings me to an actual sports topic, okay, if you don't mind.
On a sports podcast? Never.
Yeah. LeBron James, at the beginning of the year, said that the regular season...
I'm glad you used his last name, because I was curious which LeBron you were talking about.
I don't mean LeBron Lewis. I mean LeBron James, the first.
Okay.
He said at the beginning of the year that he thought the NBA season was too long. And at this point in the playoffs, seeing every single team with major injury problems, I'm starting to agree with him.
Well, and we're talking about a guy who, with playoffs, I think he's played like 106 games a year for the last 7 or 8 years.
Right.
So for him...
Plus, there was an Olympics thrown in there that he played, and yeah, he's getting a lot of miles.
Yeah, he's a 31-year-old or a 30-year-old who has the mileage of a 40-year-old at this point.
Yeah, and everybody knows that the games at the beginning of the year don't matter much. You don't really care about them much. And
do you remember when everybody was critical of LeBron's body language early on in the season?
And then we went, oh yeah, it's all about the playoffs. Yeah.
We've taken a 4-year hiatus, a 4-year break from playing actual basketball in the city of Cleveland, but LeBron's been doing it and doing it for a long time. So he remembered, and he was taking his time, getting warmed up for the year.
To me, I know that the NBA doesn't want to give away ticket revenue, but the season shortened by the strike that started at Christmas
was the best.
It seemed like a great basketball season. You're not competing with the NFL, and then those playoffs that year were amazing because everybody was at full strength.
When I always thought that my plan was the best one anyway, because as long as you're reducing ticket inventory, right? But as long as you still have the same national TV inventory and just as many national TV games,
yep.
What's the difference? You just replace revenue with different revenue.
I agree.
And you increase the quality of the performances by not making them play so much.
And yeah, and if you want to charge more to TNT for the playoffs, then you do that and you say, but they're going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll help nothing but TV contracts, and that's all they really care about anyway.
Well, and I don't even think that the TNT puts on games in the early season.
I don't know.
I don't think they really start doing that until a little bit later, and you're not going to want to compete with Thursday night football anyway.
Well, all I know is that they weren't showing any Cavs games until LeBron came back. The last time we saw the Cavs on TNT was when LeBron was here the first time.
Yeah. And actually, I was kind of fine with that because these are the...
Just a reminder, we're in a coffee shop.
We're in a coffee shop. We did not mention that. So if you hear any of these noises, Craig does not have a very faulty heating system in his basement. We are at a coffee shop.
Well, I do, but we're at a coffee shop.
Anyway, what I was saying was, now I don't remember.
You were saying it's time to go to the all-time worst sporting event you've ever attended.
Do you want me to do my runner-up first or my absolute worst?
Yeah, I think. Well, I think your runner-up is pretty funny. So,
all right. Well, my runner-up is I was at Game 4 in 2007 when the Cavs were in the NBA Finals. And so everyone knew the series was over because they were down 3-0. We were hoping we could salvage one game. And we had a contact through work who kind of made a bet not to us, but as we were kind of begging for playoff tickets because he would provide those tickets sometimes, he said, well, if they make the finals, I'll get you some finals tickets. So we got Game 4 and we watched the Spurs finish us off and then celebrate on our floor while the PA announcer came on and said, please be respectful of the celebrating team. And we decided to leave.
Well, I'd say that was pretty respectful, but I can't believe that's the runner-up, the Cavaliers losing a championship game.
Well, it wasn't a championship game because we all knew it was over anyway.
Right. Yeah, I guess.
That's the series issue in a sweep.
All right, so what was your what was number one?
Number one, 2005, Christmas Eve, Browns versus Steelers. The Browns lose 41-0 on Christmas Eve. We had been amped up to go to the game. 2005, I don't know what our record was. Probably terrible. But, you always have hope that they'll step up and play the Steelers once and play them well. But in this case, that did not happen. 6-10?
I don't know if that's the right season yet, but...
Well, fair enough. But, wasn't a great game. Just, it was the game of the fan running onto the field and getting body slammed by James Harrison. So the interesting part, or the funny part of this story, comes after the game. Keep in mind it's Christmas Eve. We are walking back to our car, and we're about to walk into the parking garage. We had parked off of East 9th, and a car pulls out of the parking garage, this big SUV. A rear window rolls down, and a child somewhere in the 7 to 10 range, this little girl sticks her head out the window and goes, "Steelers rule, Browns suck." And I didn't think this was just my first reaction as I just yelled, "Santa's not real," right at them. And hopefully she had a lot of questions on her 2-hour ride back to Pittsburgh.
No, she was still glowing in the 130 yards that Willie Parker ran for against the Browns. I'm looking at the box score now, and the Steelers ran for well over 200 yards against the Browns that day.
How many rushing yards did the Browns have that day?
Charlie Fry had 17, if you need him. Oh, Charlie Fry. Charlie Fry used to be a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
For the Cleveland Browns.
And they expected to beat the Steelers ever.
And there was a guy who said, I just thought of a pun. Fries are things you eat as well. I'm going to make a costume.
Oh, so embarrassing. So embarrassing. They're always embarrassing. Frisman Jackson played on that team.
Wow, there are some great names on that list.
Yeah, this is...
Although Terrell Smith was a good fullback. What is on your list for all-time worst sporting event you've attended?
It's not necessarily what I would have called the worst, except that it was the most scared I've ever been in my entire life. Because I went to college in Boston, so my freshman year, the Indians came to town, and I scrounged up some cash, and I bought some tickets. And by tickets, I mean multiple tickets to multiple games, but I went by myself because I couldn't find anybody to go to the game who had money to buy a ticket. So I'm paying Fenway prices, like $45 a seat. And I was being respectful. I'm a good road fan because I'm non-confrontational. I'm not very good at fighting, physically. So I'm in the stands, and it's the game where Real Cormier and Jared Wright is throwing breaking balls, and they're spraying all over the place. Jared Wright's not having a good season, not having a good game, and all of a sudden tensions rise, and the next half inning, Real Cormier from the Red Sox decides he's going to throw a fastball into Jim Thome's hip, and Jim Thome charged the mound.
Wow.
In Fenway, and I'm sitting by myself with my Indians cap on, which very quickly came off my head and went under my shirt because tensions in the Fenway crowd rose very quickly, the well-lubricated Boston audience.
Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt my hacky Boston accent, but I can imagine some of the phrases that were thrown about there.
Yeah, I was like 19 and very scared.
There is a guy who we know through work who is from Boston, and he lives in Las Vegas now, but he was from Boston and was explaining to my brother in a meeting about, I don't remember if it was business related or what, but then he's got this real thick Boston accent, and if you listen to people with an accent, you know how your brain's kind of translating and you're slightly behind. But I guess he said that something, that went over like a fart in church. And this was like during a business meeting. Oh. So I'm sure that the charge of the mound went over like a fart in church.
Oh, God.
Now, because...
And this is like 95% of the reason that I moved back from Boston.
Is Boston people?
I couldn't imagine raising my kids with that accent. It's like, if you walk through your life and you talk like I talk, and then your kids go, "Shut up, Dad." You're like, "Oh my, no.
This is wicked awesome."
It sounded like that's your Peter.
It's my Peter Griffin, yeah.
You just broke out your Peter Griffin impression.
Now, I do have an honorable mention because my sister is here. She didn't play in the game, but the absolute worst sporting event that I was ever witnessed was a middle school basketball game.
I thought you were going to say like JV girls volleyball or something.
No, it was middle school basketball, and the Woodridge Bulldogs lost 30-0 in tournament play. Now, I would say that my sister's not responsible because she did not make it into the game. But also, what coach doesn't put everybody into the game when you're down like 24-0? Maybe you empty the bench.
I think this is disrespectful. I think it's disrespectful of your sister, and I don't appreciate it.
Well, I have nothing to. It was not meant to be disrespectful. And she did not make it to the WNBA, but I thought it was going to be one of those Jordan stories where he didn't make the team, and then she worked really hard. And
you got to pick your skill set. Either you're going to work on your handles or you're going to work on that outside shot. One of the two.
I was.
Or in the case of Matthew Dellavedova, both. Both.
I was with my nephew James, and he was saying, "Dad, I just want to play defense. I like playing defense. I want to play defense." And I said, "All right, James, will you go over there in the corner and you learn to hit that corner three? If you play defense and hit the corner three, you'll have a spot on any team."
It's the Bruce Bowen method.
Exactly.
Well, we are at the 22-minute mark, and we have a Cavaliers game to go watch for ourselves.
We planned on having about a half an hour of audience participation.
No, we didn't. This is like the worst part of any call-in talk radio show is the callers.
That is true. Unless anybody here has a bad sporting event, but it doesn't look like anybody does.
No, so this is the second ever live Waiting for Next Year podcast. This one from the Nervous Dog. The next time we schedule one of these, we need to pick like the Saturday before a Browns game when we really know that nobody's going to be watching anything of. We could pick basically any second half Indians game this season.
I don't think we're going to need to compete with the 2,200 that are up at the game tonight.
And I don't say that gleefully, man. I wish they didn't suck, but they suck.
They kind of do, and that it takes the heat off of the attendance
conversation.
The attendance conversation, because
when you don't have to talk about the Cleveland Indians attendance when they suck and nobody should be there anyway.
Correct. But they got a winning streak going there. Getting hot, maybe. Who knows? They're getting some people back.
Doubtful. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, everybody. We appreciated doing it, and we will talk to you next time. This has been the WaitingForNextYear.com podcast.